The rules for private practice driving. What cars and accompanying persons are allowed. I explain this to you in this video. It is important that learning drives always take place in safe conditions and with the right accompanying persons. Unfortunately, there are always cases where learning drives take place in prohibited vehicles or with persons who are not allowed as accompanying persons. This can not only pose a high risk of accidents, but also have serious legal consequences for the novice driver with the learning license as well as for the accompanying person. To ensure that learning drives are carried out safely and legally, there are some rules that must be followed. Below, we would like to show you the most important points so that you know which cars and accompanying persons private practice drives are allowed to be carried out with. Requirements for the companion. The selection of the accompanying person is of great importance during learning to drive. After all, they are responsible for giving the novice driver important instructions and assistance and taking over the vehicle in case of emergency. That is why there are certain requirements that an accompanying person must meet in order to be approved as such. Firstly, the accompanying person must have a valid driver's license of the same class for which the novice driver is learning. This means that a person with a car driver's license category B is approved as an accompanying person for a novice driver who wants to obtain a car driver's license category B. Additionally, the accompanying person must have been in possession of this driver's license for at least 3 years. Furthermore, the driver's license of this accompanying person may not be issued on probation. In addition to the driver's license, there is also an age restriction for accompanying persons. This must be at least 23 years old. This means that persons under 23 years of age are not approved as accompanying persons, even if they have a valid driver's license themselves. It is important that you take these requirements into account when choosing the accompanying person, so that you can be sure that the learning to drive is safe and legal. Violations of these rules can not only lead to accidents, but also to serious legal consequences for all involved. Requirements for the vehicle. First of all, the vehicle must correspond to the category for which the beginner is learning. This means that a beginner with a car learner's permit can only drive a vehicle of category B, car. Similarly, the vehicle must be in a roadworthy condition. This means that it must be technically sound and have all the required safety measures. It is also important that the beginner's view is not restricted by dirty windows or other objects, such as air fresheners. Make sure the vehicle is not overloaded and that all passengers are properly fastened. The importance of the brake intervention by the accompanying person. The accompanying person during driving lessons must be able to bring the vehicle to a stop at any time. Unfortunately, there are many cars nowadays that make this difficult. Therefore, we would like to point out some important points to consider when choosing a vehicle for private practice drives. Firstly, it is important that the accompanying person can reach the handbrake at all times. This means that the handbrake should be installed in the center console and not in the footwell or door area. Cars that do not have a handbrake in the center console should not be used for private practice drives. There is only a small exception for vehicles that have dual pedals. There are now various providers that rent driving school vehicles. If the vehicle has a manual mechanical handbrake, it is generally allowed for practice drives. However, you should be careful with vehicles with an electronic handbrake. Most electronic handbrakes do not bring the vehicle to a stop and release the brake during driving or when pressure is applied to the accelerator pedal. Electronic brakes, which are allowed. If you are unsure whether your electronic handbrake is permitted for private practice drives, there is a way to check. By performing a test braking, you can determine whether the vehicle comes to a stop when the brake is applied or if the brake is released during the drive or when pressure is applied to the gas pedal. It is important that you perform the test braking on a suitable road and do not endanger anyone. Make sure to brake at a certain speed and not too slowly. It is also important to give an impulse on the gas pedal during the braking and check if the brake is released. Unfortunately, due to the various car brands and their many different models and series, it is difficult to say in general which vehicles are permitted or not. If you have a non-permitted vehicle or are not completely sure, we recommend using an alternative vehicle. A good alternative would also be a practice drive subscription from Mobility Car Sharing. Thank you for watching our video. We hope it helped. For more information, visit us at fahrschul-guru.ch.